Good evening and thank you for joining us. Lloydminster has a new police duo on patrol. After years of training, the pair is ready to sniff out even the smallest bit of evidence. Hasko and Constable Joe Plant are the newest additions to the Lloydminster RCMP.
There's a lot of work to be had. I mean, we do everything from narcotic searches to search for missing people. Obviously, criminal activity. We're out there searching for criminals if they run as well.
Constable Plant and his German Shepherd partner will focus their efforts on Lloydminster, but will help in the surrounding area if needed.
And you'll find us pretty much in any big center, and even smaller centers will have a dog that will respond to them from a surrounding area. So most locations within Canada have access to a police service dog.
Hasko is a workhorse, and at 2.5 years and 90 pounds, he's a force to be reckoned with.
What the dog's doing is what he loves to do and what's natural for him to do. He's just doing it for us. His worst days are the days off where he's got to sit at home and kind of recharge his batteries. He wants to work all the time.
One of just 150 RCMP dog handlers in the country, Constable Plant says he's one of the lucky ones.
This job is a lifestyle. Like I say, it has to be a passion. It's not a job. When I go home, my dog goes home with me. I spend more time with him than I do with my family. He's with me all the time, and you have to love it.
And residents in the Cut Knife area now have better access to primary health services after a relocation to a former medical clinic. Ryan Craig has more.
This site used to lay home to the Cut Knife Hospital years ago. Now, after some touching up, it is home to the new Primary Health Center.
This side used to be our hospital, which was closed quite a few years ago, and through the years, many discussions about what this building could be used for, and nothing has ever materialized until now.
The new Primary Health Center is located in the west wing of the building. Having services all in one location attempts to make things more efficient and easier on the patient.
The clinic providers, the NP and the physician, would be able to work in a connected care model in collaboration with other health services providers in this one shared space.
The services offered at the center include X-rays, chronic disease management, and even speech and language pathology, services that will be used by many different people in the area.
Everybody has health to worry about, and if we can learn to work together in the very important areas, health, education, employment, certainly the rest of life should be easier.
While the new center does not offer any new services to the area, the thought is the enhanced access to these services will bring people back to be treated.
We've had a lot of people that have gone elsewhere seeking physician services, and slowly they're coming back because we have a constant here.
In lots of small towns and villages within Saskatchewan, there's always the fear that they're going to lose what they have. So when you have funds being put into a facility to be expanded, that's security.
Ryan Craig, Newcap News.
Well, Kindness Day may have been yesterday, but that didn't stop a Mother Theresa pre-K class from spreading a little kindness at the SPCA.
Because I like animals. Because dogs and cats like it too.
This group of students spent part of the afternoon touring the shelter. The preschool class has been busy making cat beds and dog treats to donate back to the SPCA.
They were so excited. They came up with all the ideas. John from the SPCA came into the classroom and told them kind of what he does and how they help pets and some of the things they need, and they brainstormed the ideas.
Once on the tour, the students learned how to care for animals and the importance of the shelter's work in the community.
It's really great to see because you can never really start too young in teaching children about the importance of caring for animals and being able to know how to approach them correctly.
Wow. The students were able to give back thanks to a Kindness Wins grant, which helps fund local initiatives.
They can make a difference. They can help in the community too.
And we all have to fight cravings for sweet and salty foods from time to time, but it becomes harder for people going through bouts of anxiety or depression. In this week's Healthy Living, Josh Ryan looks at why the risk of overeating is so high in these situations and what you can do in response.
Dealing with anxiety and depression, either chronic or as a result of emotional or traumatic events, is a difficult task. Add poor eating and the experience gets worse.
We have seen that as well, where during times of anxiety or depression or just hard situations, food can become that coping mechanism.
Sugary and salty foods that are a natural choice during impulse eating are what people will turn to for the burst of dopamine.
So it's very natural to end up seeking that kind of relief and comfort from pain.
Add low self-esteem, and bad eating habits can contribute to a negative feedback loop.
Then it doesn't really matter if we happen to go to McDonald's, or it doesn't really matter if we happen to eat out the next meal because we're not doing other things well already.
This makes everyday choices much more important.
Just a matter of habits and where we decide to put in our efforts and where we decide to put in our focus.
The recommendations are similar to advice for general healthy living. Balance your meals and keep yourself active.
Be conscious and intentional about getting enough exercise and exposure to sunlight, and making sure to really ensure they're getting enough healthy protein-based meals.
What's the quality foods that you're having? When are treats coming in? Why are they coming in? How do we build that into balance?
And just as important is social support and human interaction.
So that they're getting enough face-to-face human contact, which is another source that gives us that sense of comfort.
Josh Ryan, Newcap News.
This is Newcap Sports.
The Lloydminster Bobcats are struggling. The Cats are on a 5-game losing streak and are precariously close to losing another spot in AJHL standings. To make matters worse, one of the league's hottest teams of late, the Sherwood Park Crusaders, were in town, but without their starting goaltender. A great opportunity for Lloydminster to get a win. Lance Phillips with more.
Two forces collided at the Civic last night, almost reminiscent of David versus Goliath. Sherwood Park entered Wednesday's contest winners of 4 straight, while the Bobcats' losing streak was extended to 6 after a 3-0 loss to the Crusaders. Except for the visitors, it was the type of game everyone would like to forget, with playoffs looming.
It's the lack of urgency. Willing to pay the price, willing to stop on pucks, willing to get pucks out. We're just not playing with urgency, and you know, it could be a very quick playoff exit if we continue to go like this.
It's just bearing down on the puck and being able to be strong on it. You know, if it's getting a pass and letting it slip through your stick, that's the kind of little things that are going wrong for us right now. We just kind of got to regroup and start focusing on, you know, just the work ethic and wanting to be out there.
We played extremely hard in the last 5 games to get back on board and back on the streak, and you know, a lot of things are going right in terms of our offensive play, our defensive play, and you know, we're really happy that we're playing well at this time of the year.
Bobcats' scoring woes came in large part to the work done by Crusaders netminder Ben Rashog. It was a 17-year-old's first AJHL shutout, a milestone made more difficult in the waning moments of the game.
I kind of just try to keep it out of my mind and try not to worry about it and just focus on the puck. So, because I know if I focus on it too much and then I do let one in, then I'd really be kicking myself.
For a young kid coming in, it's not easy, especially into this rink where the boards are square and the pucks are lively. And you know, Ben played extremely well, gave us every chance to win the game, and you know, credit to him.
In theory, hockey is not a difficult game to play, but over the last 6 contests, the Bobcats have made it look arduous at best. And maybe the worst part is they know how to fix it.
We just, you know, keep saying the same thing, game plan. Pucks in deep, keep it simple, get pucks on net, right? Everyone talks a good game, coaching staff included. It just, we're not doing it right now.
There's a couple instances tonight where just a simple chip would have worked and it turned over, ended up in the back of our net. So yeah, we want to simplify the game a little more. And when we were winning, that's what we were doing. It's simple, get the puck deep and, you know, work their D up down low.
Unfortunately for the Bobcats, those tasks are easier said than done right now. Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Lloydminster.
This is Newcap weather. with Josh Ryan.
Well, buckle up, folks. Those desperate wind speeds that we had last year that got to around the 60, 70 kilometer mark, those are coming back. Unfortunately, we're expecting some very, very, very gusty winds over the next couple of days. Add that to a low pressure system bringing with it at least 10 to 20 centimeters of snow, and it's going to be one interesting weekend here in the border city. So here is the next 24 hours, as you can see. A little bit of a low pressure system developing in the bottom corner of your screen. That is going to make its way across to the border city around the time we get to midday on Saturday. We could get some light flurries tomorrow afternoon, but mostly it'll just be cloud cover. Some of that stuff breaks off. But again, it'll make its way out at about morning on Saturday, just some minor flurries to worry about tomorrow, but still have plenty of very gusty winds to deal with before that. So -10 currently in the border city. It's -7 in Edmonton, -6 over in Edson, -3 out in Jasper. Rocky Mountain House sitting at -6, -8 up in Whitecourt, and when we move out east into Saskatchewan, -14 in Meadow Lake, -8 in Prince Albert, and Saskatoon sitting at -11. And again, those temperatures are going to drop as things get a little bit cooler here. So again, -7 over in Edmonton. Vancouver's still sitting at +9 despite that low pressure system out in BC. -8 in Regina, -3 in Winnipeg, which for them around this time of the year is a great temperature. -2 in Quebec City, 3 in Toronto, and it's just bumped up ahead of 0 in both Halifax and St. John. -9 is the current temperature in the Battlefords, where it's relatively clear. It'll drop down a couple of degrees and get back to -9 tomorrow, but it'll be cloudy and breezy as well. As you can see, easterly winds between 30 to 43 kilometers per hour, and that could get worse over the weekend. East-northeast winds expected overnight that will also breach the 30-kilometer mark. -8 currently in the Lakeland region, and that again should cool down overnight, expecting -14 for the low as the cloud cover continues to increase. Wind will shift from the northeast to directly out of the east, and the wind speed again will pick up to get around 20 kilometers for most of the evening, and then we'll stick around that throughout tomorrow, where the high will be -7. Fairly cloudy, and again, because of that wind chill, it will be cold, and even colder expected here in the border city. -10 right now, dropping 3 degrees rather, and warming up 4 tomorrow. And again, wind out of the east will shift from the northeast to the east. Some of that wind speed will pick up as well. So 33 kilometers expected to be the fastest it'll get overnight, but it'll get into 37 kilometers tomorrow. And again, winter storm warnings are in effect. We're not expecting a lot of snow till Saturday, but some of that could come in tomorrow, at least in a couple of flurries. So Lloydminster, Vermilion, Wainwright, Provost, all under watch currently at the moment, expecting anywhere from 15 to 25 centimeters by Sunday. Now again, -9 the expected high tomorrow with a low -11, -6 on Saturday, but very windy indeed with plenty of snowfall coming. -10 then the low, -6 on Sunday, -7 Monday, -9 Tuesday, -7 Wednesday, and -6 on Thursday. All of these a little bit cooler than the average high for this time of the year, and certainly the lows obviously cooler as well. And it will be interesting to see how many centimeters of snow we get. If we don't get a lot tomorrow, we're going to get a bushel of it on Saturday.
Well, it's all backed up on the prairies as rail companies are struggling to move grain. In this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lampau meets an area producer to assess the growing crisis.
Some of my contracts from December and January were about a month behind.
Grain producer Devon Walker is behind on paying his bills. He booked sales early, but with the backlog, he resorted to moving some grain to a local canola crusher. Since then, the price went up, so he has taken a loss.
We're on track to have another repeat of what happened 5 years ago, and the Western Canadian agriculture industry lost estimated $8 billion in 2013-14 due to shipping delays and backlogs.
The last grain delay is fresh in his mind.
The last one on my wheat acres, I lost about 20 to 25% of the value of that crop. The commodity prices had slipped a little bit, and a lot of the demurrage fees from the boats waiting off the coast were passed down to us farmers.
Producers say these grain cars behind me have not moved in over a week. Now in January, just under 26,000 grain cars were shipped in Western Canada. But that's down of December, some 5,000, and down even further, some 14,000 compared to November. Now the legislation to make the rail companies move grain expired last July, and its replacement, Bill C-49, is yet to be passed.
It would be nice to see a railroad climate where the railroad understands that there's some penalties and there's a big cost to the Canadian economy to have these delays.
Walker says he lost about $10,000 from the 2013-14 backlog. The systemic delay creates a storage problem if the crop is not moved ahead of the next harvest. He sees a backlog in Canada as resulting in delays in putting food on the table in another country.
The essence of agriculture is that us farmers really enjoy to produce crops to feed ourselves, to feed our families, to feed the world.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Centre. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Centre with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.